I recently done some research on black-eyed children that seem to increase in sightings lately. What I found out is that this is nothing new. I've only seen them in Hollywood movies such as Children of the Corn. Have you ever thought about where these Hollywood film producers get these ideas to create these movies and tell stories? We've become so drawn into these movies to the point of manifesting things in our minds, even in our dreams. Maybe even into our reality. Is this what's happening with these children? After doing some research, I was reminded of a story my grandfather told me about what happened to him back in 1987. It was in the cold winter month of January. He lived in Leon, Iowa. This is a small town that everyone grew up together. Some moved away and came back later to start their own families. He worked as the local mailman, so he was familiar with a lot of the families and their children. Some days the temperature would get down below freezing, so during these times he would use a wood fireplace to heat up his house. The lower level would get so hot sometimes, he would sit out on the porch just to cool off a bit. On this particular morning, school was closed for the day, and he had been sitting out on his porch for a while, and he got up to go in to make a warm drink when he heard a knock at the door. He thought it was odd, being that it was cold out, and he hadn't seen anyone walking the streets or any children running around playing in the snow. He lived by an old wood mill, and there were homeless people living there from time to time, so he thought maybe someone wandered over to get something to eat or just needed somewhere warm to stay. He said as he entered his hallway, he saw standing in his doorway 2 little children. No older than 6 or 7, one of them said, "May we come in for just a bit? Do you have anything to eat?" He invited them in, thinking that it must be some of the locals. As he approached them, he quickly recognized that he had never seen them before. "Where are your parents?" he asked. As both of them stood in the hallway, he also noticed that they wouldn't look him in the eye, and that they didn't look like they were homeless or had been walking through the snow. My grandfather said that most of the homeless people that he would run across from time to time would smell, be dirty, or even look like they were walking through the snow. But not these kids. They looked as if they just came from Bible study or a funeral or something. This was very odd, he thought to himself. Walking through the snow and muddy roads, your feet would be freezing, but there were no signs of this. As he peered outside to see if anyone else was with them, he noticed there wasn't even a trail of footprints in the snow. He asked them, "Where are your parents?" They both just stood there looking down at the floor. One replied, "May we have something to eat?" My grandfather, being the caring man that he was, got down on one knee in front of them and said, "Yes, I can give you something to eat, but I need to know, where are your parents?" Some children are just really shy sometimes, but this was different. He said as he began to reach out to put his hand on one of them, it looked up at him. Yes, he said it. This was no normal child. It had dark, cold, black eyes. He jerked his hand back in confusion and fear. "May we have something to eat?" it repeated again. Not sure what to do, he began to walk backwards, not taking his eyes off of them. He reached for his light switch in the kitchen, and the front door slammed behind them. Now shaking in fear, he quickly stepped around the corner into the kitchen. He went over to his phone to call the sheriff. While on the phone with the operator, he began to hear a sound coming from the hallway, and a click on the phone. "Hello? Hello?" he repeated quietly on the phone. The operator was no longer there. He went back into his hallway, and they were gone. He opened his front door and walked out onto his porch, and they were nowhere in sight. No trail of footprints in the snow. It was as if they never even existed. Hey, what's up guys? This is the Nighthawk. I'm so glad to be back with you guys. I had a few things to take care of, but I will be back on my normal schedule of uploading videos. I'm sorry for the wait. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And always remember, he's watching.